Hi, boys and girls. It's me again, Acadiana's Mother Goose. And I'm going to be reading some more stories for you today. I have a book that is done by one of our local authors here in Lafayette, and it is called The Book That Wanted to Be Read. It's by Jerica Guillory, and it's illustrated by Hannah Gumbo. It's a lovely book, and there's so many beautiful colors. I think you're going to enjoy this book as much as I did. So let's begin. Are you okay with that? Good. I'm glad you're here with me again. The Book That Wanted to Be Read. There once was a book, and his mama always said, "The happiest books are the ones that are read." Book was born a light shade of white, so he thought about being read every day and every night. He had friends of many colors, and they seemed happy enough, but they weren't feeling blue. But red was the happiest, for if Mama said it, then it must be true. Asking himself the great question of life, what was I born to do? My mama said I was born to be read. And so he set off on a red-hot pursuit. What was I born to do? 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 And here he is, the sweet little book. Here he is as a baby with his mama. And here he is trying to figure out, what am I going to do? My mom says I should be read. R-E-D is what he thought. One crisp morning, Book paddled his pirogue to Baton Rouge, which is French for bread stick. Surely happiness would find him there. When Book arrived, he sat on the lawn of the state capitol and waited. He waited and waited and waited some more. He waited so long he began to snore. Book was dreaming for a while until he heard the whistle of a ship. He jumped up, hoping to feel incredibly happy. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Book rowed himself slowly all the way home, defeat written all over his face. Now here he is, that little book, right here in his little pirogue, and he went to Baton Rouge, which is French for red stick. So he was hoping to become red then, but he wasn't. One afternoon, while Book was flying his airplane, he saw a field of strawberries that seemed to go on forever. He made a quick landing and picked several sacks full of the sweetest smelling strawberries this side of the Mason-Dixon line. Once home, he juiced those strawberries one by one until he had an entire pitcher full of the reddest juice you ever saw. He proceeded to drink that yumminess right down to the very last drop. He waited and waited and waited to turn red. Certainly drinking all that red juice would make him red. Book patiently waited until day became night, and he drifted off to sleep. You already know what he dreamed about. So here he is. He took all those strawberries and made them into a strawberry juice, and then he drank them and drank them and drank them, thinking for sure he'd become red. But no, he didn't. The middle of May rolled around, and Book found himself riding his bike near the crawfish ponds. He decided to empty a trap that was full of mud bugs. Surely, in exchange for their freedom, they might give him some advice on how to go about becoming red. But his plan didn't go so well. When he turned the trap over, all of the crawfish raced backwards into the water, all except for one with big, big claws. Biggie Cray-Cray wouldn't answer any of Book's questions. Maybe he's just shy. Book lay down with his belly to the ground, where they could see eye to eye. And then, like he does with all of his friends, he put his hand high in the sky. A valuable lesson was learned on this day, and Book was made all the more wise. Maybe you know this, but in case you didn't, crawfish don't give high fives. Here he is at the crawfish pond, and he's trying to talk to the crawfish about how he can become red like the crawfish. But crawfish don't high five, and that's what he wanted to do with the crawfish. So, let's see what else. The morning after June's full moon, Book awoke just itching to go fishing. And not any old fish would do. It had to be a red fish, not orange fish or blue fish, and he'd be happy to catch him a few. He skippered his airboat down the Atchafalaya Basin, zooming all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Book baited his hook with some dog food and caught several catfish. But he threw them all back because they hadn't used up their 9 lives. And besides, he wanted to catch a redfish. Apparently, redfish don't care much for dog food. So here he is trying to catch a redfish, but all he's catching are catfish with the dog food that he has on his hook. Book jumped into July with a bang. The sky was like a rainbow explosion. He rolled through town wearing a cape of the American flag, complete with red skates and a red cap. Everyone smiled and waved as he passed. So here he is. Here's Book during the 4th of July with his American flag cape, and his hat is flying off right there, and he has his red roller skates, and he's just rolling through the town. When the weather cooled off a bit, Book went camping. He set up his tent and his s'mores making station. He gathered pine cones and sticks to make a fire. Carefully, he strung a clothesline onto nearby trees. Book enjoyed being in the woods. He liked listening to the forest creatures, and he tried to mimic their sounds. The owls hooted, and Book did too. Hoo, 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 hoo. The crickets chirped, a clicking noise, and Book attempted to do the same. The wind lightly stirred and rustled the leaves and made all the branches dance in the breeze. Swoosh! As the mosquitoes buzzed harmoniously, buzz. For once, Book wasn't thinking about being read, and he was very relaxed. Book dozed off in his hammock, gently swinging, and before long he was dreaming about his sweet mama's singing. The happiest books are the ones that are read, and that's what you were born to do. The happiest books are the ones that are read, and that is my wish for you. And here he is at Chico State Park, and he's camping out, and he's just having a good old time imitating all the animals and the different sounds that he hears out there when he's camping. And he didn't think anything about being read. While he was dreaming, the animals in the forest tried imitating the loud sound Book was making. After a night of peaceful rest, Book stood up and stretched himself this way and that. He scratched his neck and then his back. He scratched his arms and then his legs. Book let out a whimpering whine. He was itching where the sun don't shine. With a look of panic across his face, he yelled to himself, "Get me out of this place!" Book was covered from top to bottom, front to back, elbow to big toe in big bug bites. Red bug bites. Oh, poor baby. Book was in his hammock sleeping, and when he woke up the next morning, he had all these red bug bites all over his body. Poor, poor Book. Once home, Book took a dry bath, as all books must do. He stepped out of the tub and caught his reflection in the mirror. Book was frozen in time, although there was nothing cool about him. He was red, all right, but he had never felt so wrong. His mind kept replaying his mama's song, but it no longer made any sense. Feeling far away from happiness, Book decided to visit his neighbor, Dictionary. She was smarter than the average Book. Perhaps her wisdom within is what he couldn't do without. As they sat on the front porch, drinking sweet tea, Book told Dictionary that his mama always said, "The happiest books are the ones that are read." And clearly you see, I am red as can be, but never have I felt such misery. Dictionary smiled in her own special way, picked up Book, and said, "Let's try adding an A." So here he is, poor Book, all bitten up by all the red bugs. Oh my goodness, poor thing. And he was red now, but he wasn't happy. He said, my mom said if I was red, I'd be happy. But he wasn't. He hurt a lot, and he itched a lot. So he went to visit his neighbor, Dictionary, who was so very, very smart. And she said, let's put an A in that red. Dictionary began to read book. As she turned each page, he squealed with delight. Dictionary read book from cover to cover, and then lovingly asked him, so, how do you feel? Book exclaimed excitedly, I feel happy, so happy, like never before. Oh, please, my dear friend, won't you read me some more? So Dictionary started to read book. And he felt so good when this happened. So he wanted her to read some more to him. Dictionary giggled and said, well, your mama was right. The happiest books are the ones that are read, R-E-A-D. And every day after that, book was read, R-E-A-D, and he was happy. The happiest books are read. The end, begin again. Every ending is a new beginning. So here he is with his mom and his neighbor, Dictionary, and he is so happy now because he is read, R-E-A-D. Ah, wasn't that a lovely story? Jerica Guillory is just a wonderful author, and the beautiful, beautiful illustrations in here, the pictures by Hannah Gumbo are so beautiful. Didn't you enjoy it as much as I did? Now, please do tell me, if you could, how the simplest things are often misunderstood. Try as we may to be loud and clear, what we say isn't always what we hear. Join a little book who sets out on an adventure based on what he always heard his mama say, only to find out what she meant was something else entirely. Now this is just a lovely book, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Next time we're going to be reading another book by Miss Jerica Guillory too. And I know you're going to enjoy that one too. So right now, how about if my little Mother Goose here can sing a few songs to you, and I'll sing with her.
Here, sweetheart, I'm going to tell you some of your favorite nursery rhymes. Let's start off with Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king horses and all the king men couldn't put Humpty together again. That was good.
Now, how about Hickory Dickory Dock?
Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck one, the mouse ran down. Hickory Dickory Dock.
Next, let's do Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after.
Oh, I know. Let's do Little Bo Peep.
Bo Peep lost her sheep and doesn't know where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home, wagging their tails behind them.
Last but not least, Twinkle, Twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, How I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Oh, that,
My darling.
I just love that. Don't you love it when she sings? I enjoy it so much. Now, if you would like, I'm going to quickly just read one or two little nursery rhymes for you. Would you like that? Let's see what we can find. This is from my nursery rhyme treasury. Now, we already sang these, but let's say them again. Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. And what about Jack and Jill? Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Up Jack got, and home did trot as fast as he could caper. He went to bed to mend his head with vinegar and brown paper. Let me find another one. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day. Little Johnny wants to play. How about Seesaw, Marjorie Daw? Seesaw, Marjorie Daw, Johnny shall have a new master. He shall have but a penny a day because he can't work any faster. Oh, I just love the stories in my little book here. There was an old woman who lived in the shoe. There was an old woman who lived in the shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. So she gave them some broth without any bread, and she whipped them all soundly and sent them to bed. Do you know Tom Tom the piper's son? Tom Tom the piper's son stole a pig, and away he run. Pig was eat, and Tom was beat, and Tom went roaring down the street. Old King Cole. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe in the middle of the night, and he called for his fiddlers three. Every fiddler had a very fine fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Oh, there's none so rare as can compare with King Cole and his fiddlers three. That was a fun one. Here's another one that's a little song you can sing with me. Polly put the kettle on. 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 We'll all have tea. Sookie took it off again. Sookie took it off again. Sookie took it off again. They've all gone away. Oh, here's a cute one. Well, you see my little tea set right here. Here's one that's called Coffee and Tea. Molly, my sister, and I fell out, and what do you think it was all about? She loved coffee and I loved tea, and that was the reason we couldn't agree. Now let's have a play-like tea party. How about that? We'll just pour a little tea into our little coffee cup here, our little teacup, and we'll put just a little bit of imaginary sugar, just one. Then we will do creamer. So we'll put our imaginary creamer in there, and we'll stir it up real good, real good. And then we'll play like we're drinking some tea. Yum. I hope that if you don't have a little tea set, you can at least get a little plastic cup from Mom or Dad, so you can always have a little tea party. So thank you again for being with me today, and I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. And I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye.